Hi, everyone, and welcome to Dire Bear Adventuring Company. It is Monday night, which means we are live with the Escorts. Not those kind of escorts. These are the kind that don't get paid for that kind of fun.
Speak for yourself.
Okay, anyways, on Monday nights, anyways. No, this is a homebrewed world where our fine adventurers have created a side-by-side universe where things are normal and there is no magic, but at the same time, the world they're in, which has magic, and their thoughts and minds often bleed into where those two places cross one another. And they are currently escorting a young lady by the name of Hannah to some moors, a bog, a place where ancient relics and keeps and things like that used to stand, but have long been mired in the muck. They have taken a quick rest at Jopus Landing, where they have come north, the home of one of the player's characters, Setael. They have made friends, have supped, have had breakfast, and some other shenanigans, which we'll get into more in just a moment. But first, let's go ahead and get some bills paid. First of all, thank you to D&D Beyond, our sponsor, and allowing us to use your utilities and tools. Out now, and it has been out for the better part of a month now, is the Descent into Avernus. Start in the questionable locale of Baldur's Gate and literally go to hell. That is now live in the digital library that they have there, along with all of their other utilities and tools. Please drop in. You can create an account for free and use the open source material to create characters and classes that are in the books. And then you can also purchase a legendary bundle and things like that. That is D, so dndbeyond.com. Also, a huge thanks to Lucky Dice Cafe, where you can catch me live every Thursday and Friday night as we are running games. Thursday night, we are running a long form campaign. It is Ghost of Saltmarsh. And then on Fridays, this Friday, we're running Call of Cthulhu. So we are running the 1920s Call of Cthulhu, the most recent edition, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is 7th edition. And we have pre-generated characters on Friday nights. All you need to do is bring your imagination and your appetite. I will provide the rest. And that is in Huntsville on South Memorial Parkway. You cannot miss us. Lucky Dice Cafe is the name of the place. Feel free to drop by. A lot of fun stuff that went on. They just had their Hero Clicks World Tournament for both teams and for individuals. And Easton, who is the son of the owner, just took the national title. The world title is out there by somebody else. But you can come by and check out all the stuff that they have there. And on Sundays, if you're so inclined, we do Adventure League out there. While I do organize, I am currently able to sit down and play. Although I have to change my character because I forgot that Warforged aren't legal unless it's in Eberron. So it was fun running a Warforged while it lasted. Anyways, that's on Sundays at Lucky Dice Cafe from 3 until 6 p.m. Thursday and Friday, we run from 6 till 9 p.m. Coming up in, I've got to double check the dates, but I want to say it's the beginning of April. We are going to be at the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo, which is here in Huntsville, Alabama. We have all sorts of fun people to meet and tables set up for analog games, as well as a video gaming section and all sorts of other fun stuff. Prior to that, we'll be in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And let's get a show of hands now of how many people we have officially going to show up. I know I'm going to be there, and I know that Maddie's going to be there, and I see that Molly's going to be there, and I see that V is going to be there. So there's a bunch of us that are all going to Fort Wayne, Indiana to Winter Fantasy, which is going to be run by Baldwin Games. It is all Adventure League all weekend long. It starts kind of Wednesday night, but really is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it is literally nothing but D&D all weekend. So come in and see. We'll have vendors there and everything else. And that's in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And again, we'll be there. And that is February 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And again, like I said, some of the festivities get started on Wednesday, February the 5th. So come out and check it out. Let's see. Covered the D&D Beyond, covered that. Anything else exciting coming up? I know that we just got finished with the Ren Fair, which is where I got my snazzy shirt and my coat. I'm not going to stand up to show the whole thing because it's a very, very small space that I have here. Oh, yes. No, I do have some other announcements. Coming up in November, So just a scant few days away, November the 9th, you can watch me on Nerdsmith. That is twitch.tv/wearenerdsmith, as I get to play a cat for Nerds Giving. And then on Monday, following our show, on Monday the 11th, following the show here, which will be a shorter show, we'll be on Nerdsmith. V and Molly and Sarah and myself, along with one of the Nerdsmith guys, will be playing Humblewood. And this is for the charity that they do, which this year it's Heifer International. Any donation that you guys can give or are willing to give or able to give goes towards the purchase of livestock and the development of small countries and underfunded countries to allow them to build up their own ranches and have livestock food and things like that. So Heifer International, it's fantastic. Really look into it. Now, this Wednesday, 2 days, Tuesday, Wednesday. This Wednesday is the first show of the new show that I am running over on Nerdsmith called Obscurum. It is a crime noir, Frank Miller, Eisner kind of dark 1940s crime noir. We are using the game system City of Mist to run this, and again, we go live 6 to 9. Unfortunately, that also falls at the same time. But if you're not into City of Mist, then I really do encourage you to watch the other great show that's put out right here at our channel, and that is Big Eye Smallmouth, being run by V, as they are all mechanized units. They're all playing some sort of pilot mech combination, I think. Is that right? Yeah, I see two heads shaking or nodding at me, so yes.
Yeah.
How many? Now, this is like the second or third episode, I think. Third? All right. So this is the third episode. Kind of. Yeah. So you have not missed too much to catch up. So tune in and check that out. Or if you're looking for something that's kind of hasn't been done before, because I haven't seen City of Mist and I haven't seen the way that we're doing it done anywhere else, you can come check us out over at Nerdsmith on Wednesday. So plenty to choose from. We love to have both up. Open 2 tabs, watch them at the same time. You can do that. Anyways, enough about all that. Let's get into the game itself. You guys landed in Jopus Landing and have made friends, or at least, made acquaintances with the people who are running the library there, the repository for all of the knowledge that you guys have access to. And that is Satael's father. He introduced you all, kind of like brought you into the fold. You had a wonderful dinner with all of them there, and then a breakfast. But breakfast was an uneasy moment for some of you, specifically for Ezra, who had a troubling night that evening. A dream of your mother, powerful and terrifying, as she seemed to have been wrenched from your grip, leaving furrows in your back. The trinket that you had found and had fallen asleep with was gone, but the tenderness from where the nails raked across were still there. Breakfast was had. You still have a few days left in Jopus Landing. So without further ado, what are you doing?
Well, what do you want to do about this, Ezra?
I remember you mentioning you could scry for her, so I just
Yeah,
where she is.
I could ask Dad to do it. He is a cleric. But it'd have to be after the morning services.
That would be fine. I would like to go to the forest, though. At some point,
Okay.
just
yeah, I never really spent much time near the forests, so I'm not really the best person to ask about that.
I'll just go and explore it. I'll take some with me.
Okay.
People with me.
Zora's hand immediately up. Forest, yes.
Zora.
Well, I
Zoro.
mean, there you go then. I was probably going to spend some time here because I have some research I need to do. There's been some stuff we've encountered that I need to do some research on. See if I can get a little bit more understanding on it. But if you do need help, let me know. You know where to find me.
Of course. And then I will go and actually talk to Tonga and see how Tonga's doing first to see how hungover he still is.
I think he's recovering. He's nursing his hangover over like some breakfast and holding his chicken.
Just like awkward, gentle tap on shoulder.
Like the weirdest Bond villain. Instead of a cat, it's just a chicken.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, just
Do you
Just Bond
expect me to talk, Mr. Bond?
Oh no!
mm-mm-mm.
Actually, it's. You expect me to talk, Pewterfinger?
fry.
No, I expect you to fry.
Good grief.
Oh.
My name's Jimmy Bond. Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh gosh. Tonga, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, a little tired. My head feels a little funny, but I think I'm doing better than when the sun first hit my poor eyes.
I like to imagine that like Ezra's seen a lot of hangovers, but has not really experienced one himself. Hopefully, maybe. But um, Zora and I are going to the forest. If you join us,
What for?
I had visions last night, and I am just curious of the forest. I'll explain along the way more, but
Right. Okay. I'll stand up and I will like pass Archibald over to Mello, and stand
the
up,
forest is no place for a chicken.
and I will.
Exactly
turn
the
to be
place
the
for a
child.
chicken, but I'll take good care of him.
And I will stand up and I will follow Ezra.
I mean, Mello and Zastari are more than welcome to join us, but I have a very indicating feeling that Zastari will be staying.
Yeah, I have something I wish to discuss with the locals here. That is all. And then
As if you
Gonna
could give a little
wonder.
bit of time, I could join you. I just don't know how long this is going to take though, or how long it might take to find the info I need.
To the forest or to the village?
Forest.
Oh. Well,
Well, I mean, what you explained is something that's kind of concerning, and something happening this close to the monastery like that. That's is that something that I've heard about happening to somebody at the monastery before? No. Okay. Yeah, it's like this. That's a. I lived here for
How
about
old are
30
you now?
years.
I
He's
was like, how old are
34.
you now?
He's 34. It's like I've been here for about 30, little over 30 years, and I've never heard of that happening to anyone.
So you're saying it's not a curse?
It's not a curse.
So I know I know you do want to run off to figure it out. But if you wouldn't mind giving me some time to get some research done, I might be able to find something on top of the stuff I need to look at.
I mean, I don't see an issue with strength in numbers. I don't really know what we're walking into.
What is it that you saw?
As Ezra will go in, I'll go into the full story for Tonga, explaining that the mother appeared and the scratch marks, which are actually healed now, because Zora healed them, or they're still sort of there.
It's like they weren't really. It didn't leave an actual like scar.
Yeah, just a red mark. You were saying?
It's like that. Yeah, like if you take and run your fingers down your own arm, you know how you leave those red furrows.
Yeah,
it was like that.
Interesting.
So they'd still be there.
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, they're a little
Okay.
faded now, but you can still see them if you.
I would show them to Tonga.
Well, that's concerning. So I will gladly accompany you. But I do believe it would be wise to go in a bigger number of people. We don't know what it is that we could be dealing with.
Fine.
You don't have to go.
He's coming too.
Just out of the bed and just kind of like scooches across the ground.
Just
Well, then
rolls.
Archibald needs to be put away. Archibald is not coming.
If we lock Archibald in the room, will he destroy something?
I don't know. I'm just met him, but he's
It's
fine.
possible.
We've had him for about 6 hours. We don't really know what he does.
Mostly cluck and walk around.
And wake us up.
That's true. You all were met with.
Yeah, that was a very rude awakening.
Met with the crow at dawn. Who
I
would have
don't
guessed
know what.
With a
that
head-splitting
a rooster
hangover.
would crow at the dawn?
Is that what that was?
What did you think it
A
was?
mix of that and
Well, I didn't
also
stay with you
yelling
all.
at
I
it.
stayed in my room.
Which decidedly is not in the same area that your guys stayed.
Yeah.
You know, membership has its privileges.
Well, you should have just gotten rid of the chicken.
Never.
We
Yeah,
can't.
we could always eat it. The chicken. That's what
You
chickens
are a
for.
monster, and I will not permit you eating Archibald, our best boy.
I
I'm-
cannot believe you
that's what-
named it.
Chickens are for.
Tonga, let me put it to you this way. Which would you rather prefer when you're out of food? Starving or eating your pet?
Starving.
I'll eat you.
Jesus.
I was about to wait. Cannibalism is an option.
I
As
have gone
much as
without
I don't like
food
to bring
for
it up.
many
It's-
days on
it's a chicken.
my voyages. I'm sure we could survive just fine.
Let's
That's
just give up
these
about the chicken.
Tears.
Let them keep the chicken. I don't see an issue with it until it starts eating my stuff.
Sawtail's just gonna. He's just gonna. I'm just gonna pat Ezra on the shoulders, like you've got this, right? I need to get my research done so I can help you as fast as possible.
Before you go off to do your research,
Yes,
the brass brazier.
my room.
Okay.
I can take you there on the way. It's towards the archives.
She just kind of nods and awkward follows.
Is there like a sort of like little stable or anything in this area?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows what Archibald looks like. Why don't we leave him with some friends for now?
I'm not gonna lie. Archibald looks like hey in my head. So
That's
Yes,
exactly what we decided. His color branding looks like hey hey.
perfect.
Fun
So-
fact, hey hey is how you say chicken in Maori.
My notes.
So does that make Mello and Tangaroa Disney princesses?
Yes. 100%.
according to the research that was done by Matt Pat of Game Theory and Film Theory, no. Because what makes him a Disney princess isn't having an animal sidekick, it's having a marketable outfit.
Okay, we got to get you
Moana.
two marketable outfits.
Moana's not a Disney princess. Has a sidekick. Is literally the daughter of the chief. But the outfit that she has on isn't the princess outfit. So therefore, she is not one of the. Whenever I say Disney princesses, I mean the brand Disney princesses.
Wreck-It
She
Ralph
also
would like
is
to
never
differ.
in the Disney parks. She's not a character you can meet at the Disney parks.
But that's not part of their like Disney's criteria. Disney's criteria states that you have to be human, the daughter of some sort of royalty.
Well, that's just
And
No. I'm talking about for the brand where it's like
okay. I was
Disney
gonna say, 'cause,
princess
like,
brand. She is not a Disney princess brand because of the fact that she does not have a marketable costume or outfit without being culturally.
we're just waiting for Moana 2. Then she'll might get one.
Moana
go.
2, Enter the White Folk.
I mean, did you see Pocahontas
I was gonna
too?
say Pocahontas too.
Pocahontas 1 had the best line. It's like described all of history in one line. Do not trust those white men. All of history right there. Spoken from a white man. Don't trust
So,
them.
taking Zora to go use the burner.
Going to use that 10 gold's worth of incense, herbs, and spices.
You better not
And-
touch my boy. With your
I'm gonna
11
make
herbs
some
and
11 herbs and
spices.
spices of fried chicken. No. I'm gonna summon wood fried chicken.
Fey fried chicken.
Now she's gonna cast Find Familiar.
All right.
So, what are you planning on trying to call?
Um,
I mean, I went for a celestial myself. It's a minor one, but Meliandra is still.
my mom always used to tell me like fairy tales and stuff, and always wanted like a friend, like a little friend, like a fairy, a sprite, somebody you can just kind of talk to.
That's normally not something under the purview of the Find Familiar's ritual, though.
It's worth a shot.
I mean, if you want to
are going
try.
to get a gypsy of a nymph.
If nothing else,
Pseudo dragon.
you would at least have a fae of some kind if that's what you're aiming for,
Yeah, I mean I'm not too picky.
and
Dangerous.
you can speak with them telepathically.
More dangerous.
Just Can try
Bellows not
something.
there.
All right, go ahead,
and
and he'll pull it out and present it. All that.
Phrasing. All
Is
right. Find familiar.
she is going to attempt to summon a sprite.
I believe you're a Pact of the Chain Warlock,
Yep.
so you do have access to that, I believe.
Yep. If not that, then a tiny cat. Well, no, a fairly large cat to terrorize a chick,
Just want a big fat cat.
like Norwegian forest cat.
Like a Siberian forest cat. Just.
Mancoon.
I can't pet that all every day. I'm gonna be really.
Just rides it into battle.
You are going to get a trash panda now that I think about it.
Raccoon.
Honestly, she is cool with whatever.
It would be
She's
cool.
aiming.
Look at my kitty.
She honestly
Look
would
at
probably
my
do
kitty.
that. It's like, well, someone has a chicken for a pet. I've got a raccoon. Okay.
I saw the saddest thing today. They said, you know how raccoons wash their food before they eat it? They gave it one cotton candy.
Yeah.
I saw that video.
Mean. It's mean. All right, so let's see what we got. So it's a 1d4. You're trying for a sprite, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Roll me a 1d4. Just because that's what you want doesn't mean that's what's going to answer.
3.
All right. I'm going to ask you this question, as I always do. I have rolled as well. Would you like to take my roll or yours?
We'll go with yours.
Excellent. So the 4 choices were Imp, Pseudo Dragon, Quasit, or Sprite, being number 4. I rolled a 4. Success, you have a Sprite. Otherwise, you would have had a Quasit.
God, that would have been terrifying.
I was looking to hopefully get like a Pseudo Dragon, but that's okay. This Sprite's good too.
Pseudo
That
dragons
magic resistance is not anything to sneeze at.
Now, remember, if you take the attack action, you can forego your own attacks, allowing your familiar to make 1 attack with its reaction. So, there you go.
Alrighty.
So, after 10 minutes of arduous casting, calling out and trying to coax the creature out from the Feywild, there is a small rift in the room, right above the brazier. As it opens, you can see a green world beyond the small aperture there. Looking into it, you can see dense forests with leaves and vines that hang down, making up this lush world. There even seems to be a green tinge about the air. A few moments later, you see nothing happening until you see small hands, tiny, and a small head that peeks out. Wings flutter almost hummingbird-like as it comes over to you.
There's audible, like, "Ee!"
It's just a high-pitched squeal throughout the area.
Pretty much.
Okay.
That is actually very impressive.
It is.
That's not something that most people can summon as a familiar.
Guess I'm just lucky.
Guess you are.
We prefer special.
Anyway, guess go get to know your familiar for a while. I need to go get some research done.
Thank you.
If you wouldn't mind letting Ezra know I could meet you all out at whatever at the barracks y'all were taken to.
Or,
I know where most of the area is.
okay, I'll go hunt them down and
I can meet you all there when I'm done. I can send my owl to find you.
okay. Estimate of time, because I know they'll probably ask me that. They seem anxious to go.
Could be a few hours, depending on how much research. Because this seems like it's something rather time sensitive. I could get the research done and then work on potentially finding some more spells out of the archives later when we have a little bit more downtime. But this does seem more time sensitive.
I'll ask him if Zestari, or I'll ask Zestari if her thing in the town is only going to take a couple hours. We could always go do that and then meet back here.
That could work. Yeah,
I'll do that.
That would give me time.
And she goes, skipping back off.
All right. Heading back over, I take it to meet up with Ezra and Tenga and Mello.
Yes.
Awesome. Zastari,
Mm-hmm.
what would you like to do in town?
Well, no, because first I want to go talk to Satael's father.
Yes. Are you going to set up and foster that meeting, Satael?
She's not telling him.
Yeah, but so she has to tell him about that. Otherwise, he's going straight to the archives.
Okay, then. After you part ways with Zora, you head to the archives. Zora, you make your way back to find your fellow adventurers who set off into the forest. 300 yards past the rear of the monastery where the pantry is and the livery, or scullery, you make your way into the forest. It's a story. Then we'll come back. So the first thing you'd like to do is meet with the old man.
Yes.
Well, I say old man. He's a dwarf.
Yeah, she would like to meet with the man in charge of the monastery.
All right. Hang on just one second here. All right. You ask around, and you are eventually given directions to find where he is located. As you do, As you do, you can see the door is currently open. There is a warmth coming from the room that is something other than a forge, or excuse me, other than a hearth. And as you kind of peer into the room, you can see a small forge set up, a small anvil made usually for like tinkering with small items as opposed to like crafting larger things. And you can see the bare back of the dwarf, which even in his advanced years is still, knotted muscle and corded sinew and things, as he hammers away at something. It's not the heavy strokes of working iron into breastplates or swords or something like that. It's a small ring with a higher pitch to it. The hammer clings down, cling, 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 and he stops for a second. He rolls his shoulders for a moment. All right. Now, if you're coming in, come in. There's no point standing on the doorstep.
My apologies. It's not often I get to see someone doing such excellent smithing work.
Well, can put your eyes on it before
She's
you
going
compliment me.
She's gonna step in and close the door behind her,
Mhm.
and then she will go inspect what it is that he's working on.
The hard muscled chest of the dwarf has gotten the age, just a slight layer of flab over it, so it's still like muscly, but at the same time, it's just a little bit of soft around the edges of years. The big bushy eyebrows and the big beard are still there. You look down and you see what appears to be like a hammered piece of a wing. Just off to the side, you can see small tinker tools and a small metallic dragon about that big. The belly is made out of some crystal that shimmers red, not like a ruby. It's more see-through than that. And you can see that one metallic wing, a clockwork wing, is already in place. And there's another clockwork wing that he is building and working on. There are small pens around there, and the whole thing stands on four legs. And again, it's all clockwork and meticulously done. It's beautiful. The jaw opens on a set of gears that are here that hinge open. And it's currently sitting open. You can see a small striker that sits within the mouth of it. And he finishes hammering out. As you can see, the hammer that he's using, the head of it is very tiny, used for very delicate work. As you inspect it, he takes tweezers and he picks it up and picks up several of the pens, one at a time, and meticulously places the pens in, and then gives it a test and hooks a spring underneath, locking the whole thing into place. The wing fell until he got the spring and it opens up. He takes a small golden key and puts it in the back of it and winds it up several times. And with that, the wings start to beat and it lifts off the ground. And you can hear a whir inside of it, and the mouth opens, and the gears hit the striker. And as it does, little sparks pss, 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 come out of the mouth of the small clockwork dragon. You can hear the gears inside of it winding down and the spring loosening, and as it does, it slowly descends and lands back on the tinker's table.
That is beyond words.
Well, I gave up hammering out breastplates and swords long ago for finer things. Blessed by Moradin, but with the wisdom and thought of Ogma, decided I would probably be best left to hammering out death dealing and start crafting towards things that bring joy. But enough of me. What brings you here?
I need to know who put this flyer up. And she's going to pull the flyer out with her real name on it.
Mm-hmm. He looks at it for a moment. the bulletin board outside of the monastery's free for anybody who'd like to use it. So I couldn't tell you in particular.
If you happen to see any more of these, would you please do me a favor and destroy them?
Of course, be happy to. I'm not one to pry, but know that if you tell me something in confidence, it'll stay there. Just offering that to you.
My father's looking for me to go home,
Hmm.
and has been looking for me to go home for the last 8 years.
I
I've
take it
eluded him
then.
this long. I have no intention of going back before I am ready.
Hmm. Well, again, not one to pry, but I'll make sure that your whereabouts are obscured as possible,
I appreciate it. Thank you, Father.
of course. May I ask you a question then?
Of course.
Your friend, the large one, seemed a bit put out this morning when he awoke.
You're going to have to be a little bit more specific than the large one. There are 2
Hmm.
of them.
Fair. Not the sea elf.
Ah, so the very scary rip out your soul via your chest.
That's the one.
If it puts you at ease, he probably wouldn't do so without provocation.
Anyways, he seemed a fright this morning.
He says that he experienced something. Um, that he saw his mother. She hugged him, was pulled away from him, and it dragged her nails across his back.
Hmm.
But he also said that he exited right from our hallway into the forest.
Well, there's no exit like that from where you're at. At least, not since we've cut the forest back. It used to be, it was a lot closer, but that was ages ago. Back when I still had more color in my beard.
I think perhaps he may have scratched himself in his sleep. He does have claws on his hands. I'm not discrediting it, but I can't say that magic or psychics are really my area of expertise.
Aye, true. I understand. Well, if there's anything we can do to lend a hand, be happy to do so. Um,
He may be coming to ask you about scrying, so
sure.
having the materials
Um,
on hand for that if you need them, or
I'm not particularly trained in those arts, but we got somebody here that'll do it. Hmm.
okay. Would said person require a substantial donation to do so?
We'll never turn down a donation to the library, the monastery itself. Just let you know. However, we don't require one, not a substantial one. There is a small fee to cover for the fees for the goods used, and of course for the time spent, but it's manageable.
And that fee would be?
Oh, we'll call it 50 gold.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, would this be of any use and perhaps assistance in mitigating that price? And she's
What's
going to
that?
pull out the schematic for the cold box.
He gives a bit of a whistle. He looks at it. Give me those schematics, and I'll tell you what, we'll do this one for free, and we'll owe you a favor.
Okay. Schematic is yours. And then she takes it back from him for just a moment, writes down the actual inventor's name on the piece of paper, where he was from, so that if, it can get credited back to the person who actually created it. And then just adds the sketched by, and not her real name. She puts the one that everybody knows her by, which is Sistario Bella.
Sure thing.
And then she gives the father a deep bow of gratitude and respect. And she's now going to go find what sort of trouble she can get into in town. On her own.
We'll come back to that in a moment. Saitiel, what information are you looking for in particular? What are you researching?
In order of importance, depending on how much time. First thing I'm going to do is look up anything that might sound similar to what Ezra experienced. Second thing is any information on the fruit that he was told to hold on to, that he still doesn't know what that is, and he was waiting till we got back to Jopa's Landing to research it. And third, see if he can find anything in the more arcane sections of the archive to try to expand his spell repertoire a little bit.
All right, give me an investigation check in regards to the first thing.
Okay, investigation. Seven, because natural 1 plus 6.
There are a lot of articles and treatises and papers written on visions and vision guides and all that sort of thing, because that was the first thing, right? Was the vision that Ezra had.
Yeah.
There are a lot of articles written on those subjects. However, it's inconclusive and nothing talks directly about there. The biggest thing that you can take away from that is that a lot of times dreams and dream sequences are portents of what is to come or what has already happened in regards to like an area or a person or something along those lines.
Okay.
In regards to the second thing, which is the fruit, another roll.
That's better. 16.
You find a really good article on horticulture and in regards to exotic fruits and things like that. While you do find different fruits that describe a lot of the same things, you don't seem to find anything in particular on the fruit that you were told to hold on to. The closest that you can come to is just simply called the name you're not familiar with, but it basically like has a common name and it's called dream fruit.
Okay.
But it just says that it, pleasant to the taste. It has no hint of other like flavors to it. So it's not like, oh, this one tastes like an apple, but it has this extra thing to it. It's pleasant. It is a little malleable, so it has a little bit of a kind of a mealy texture to it. But other than that, it's all you get.
Player headcanon. If I eat this thing, I'm turning into an illithid, aren't I?
That's weird, but no.
Back into game. Okay, and then third thing is spells.
Well, you know where all the spells are at. So, yeah, you can find a few. Keep in mind that for each spell you transcribe, there is the cost of the components of 50 gold pieces per level,
Yeah.
as well as 2 hours per level to transcribe from that book to yours.
Mhm.
So you can find several, but
He unfortunately does not have the gold for that because he only has like 20 something all told. But he is going to make note of where they are. Specifically, he's looking for the spells levitate. Let me hold on. I wrote a list down of what he's after. He wants levitate, dragon breath, and crud, what was that other one? Yeah, that was it. Levitate and dragon breath. They're both second level, unfortunately.
So it'd be 100 gold per each.
Yeah. So it'd be 200 total and 4 hours to transmute them both. Or transcribe them both.
Yes, this is absolutely accurate.
So. Okay.
All right.
He'll just make note of where they are.
I'll say you're able to find those pretty easily enough. I mean, they're not uncommon spells. You're not trying to find something that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
However, go ahead and give me an intelligence or give me an investigation roll.
Yeah, sure. Oh, that's even better. That is a 22.
All right. One of the spells that keeps recurring. Hi, the DM. One of the spells that keeps recurring is Gift of Gab.
Okay.
You can see that it's written several places, several different spell books, and there are several notes made on it. It's interesting. It's like somebody's doing a piece of write-up on just this spell, or they're a merry prankster and they've been placing it in different spell books to try to get the word out about the spell.
What level is it?
It's actually a low-level spell. It's actually a second-level spell.
Okay. I will notate that as well because who knows? Could be useful.
There is a signature. It's very stylized on one of them. And from the best that you can make out the writing, it either says Jim Harkanagic or Jim Dark Magic.
Written by Jim something magic. Okay. All right, he'll take note of that too.
All right.
But until he can get money out of our benefactor to practice spells.
All right. Stepping out of the game for a second, for those of you who don't know, Acquisitions Incorporated, which was the two cats from Penny Arcade, along with, and I can't think of his name, Scott Kurtz, I believe, from PvP, got together to play D&D with my favorite DM, Chris Perkins, and they have their team is called Acquisitions Incorporated, and Jim Dark Magic is one of the player characters. Anyways, he's known for just casting magic missile using 2 wands that he uses like revolvers. So, anyways, it's hilarious stuff. You ever get a chance to watch it?
Don't give me ideas.
No, I don't give you any ideas.
No, you don't.
All right. With that being said, then the stories in town. You're researching. That took a lot of time to do all of that to find what you were looking for. Longer than you had expected. By this time, Ezra, Tangaroa, Zora, who caught up to them a little winded. I got a Sprite. It was like
really tiny legs and a Sprite.
and Mello. I assume Mello is going with them into the woods.
Oh yes, I've locked up our son in a high tower, or at least made sure the windows were locked.
He can float down. Or
He just
not.
knows the levitate spell, maybe.
A chicken that naturally knows the levitate spell. I like it.
Chicken has actually been polymorphed.
That's what I was gonna say. The chicken's been polymorphed. When you unpolymorph him, you actually get the message spell, so you're sending, so you can talk to him.
I mean, all chickens are
How you
magic. Have
doing,
you ever wailed on them
buddy?
in Legend of Zelda and watched them immediately
all just-
cast summon animals?
Teleport.
They immediately
Chickens?
cast conjure animals at level 9.
Whenever I walk to the back door of my house, I have about 14 of them.
14.
And it's
So
either terrifying or amazing to watch as I come to the door. I don't even have to open the door. If I just get to the door, the little dinosaurs come running to the door like, what do you have for us?
Food giver?
Yes.
You have an offering?
I wanted to open the door one time just playing.
Father, please, we crave.
Watching them devour a chicken carcass, yes, I know it sounds weird, but you throw one out there and you go, okay, yeah, they're related to dinosaurs because they are hit that thing like velociraptors. Just yep, they're
Nature, you
voracious.
scary.
Yeah, nature, you scary as fuck. Anyways,
Yep.
back to the game. The rest of you head into the woods. Into the woods. 300 yards from the rear of the monastery where you guys came out of, you enter this deep pine and coniferous forest. Not carnivorous, coniferous. As you look,
So
there are
far.
beds of the trees eat you. No, as you step
No,
softly
that's a
on
Tuesday game.
beds of needles that are piled high, they soften your footfalls even more so than what some of you already move. The sound absorption from the needles on the ground make it almost, it's this weird deafening sound or deafening that's happening in there as sound doesn't travel very far before being absorbed by the natural elements around you. So there's not a lot of echo in the woods. And then when I say it's a pine forest, it is thick above you. Like there are no low branches. They're all very high. But when they are, it's just a canopy of needles everywhere you look. Fir, pine, all sorts of trees like that. Making your way through, what are you looking for in particular? How are you going with this?
Ezra's he's just going off a feeling. We've got this thing with Shiro Oni. They're known for their connections to the spirit realm, so we're curious if it's something like that. So we're just kind of following a path.
Okay, give me straight wisdom. Just D20 plus your wisdom.
That's a 6. I rolled a 2.
The woods are a strange place, unlike any you've traveled before. And it seems to be you're not really sure which direction to go. Does anybody have any suggestions?
Go left. It
Not
worked
quite what I was
before.
looking for.
It sure did work before.
True, but I don't think you're chasing a chicken through the woods this time.
Really big chicken.
Can I cast Divine Sense?
You may.
Do that.
Okay. What's the range on that? 60 feet?
Yes.
You get nothing within 60 feet of you.
Okay. Keep walking.
See, the fact that you had to specify.
Zora's gonna kind of look over at her shoulder and be like, "Look, I know you just got here. Could you help us see if there's anything weird out here? My friend here is looking for something."
It flits off.
Okay,
You didn't
yes.
say to come back.
Oh,
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
oh. She kind of does look like,
Monster.
oh shit.
If the fairy doesn't come back, the chicken doesn't come back. Rule number 1. No.
There's a and eventually you see it like fluttering in front of you, and it points in a direction and darts off in that direction, stops, looks back at you, swings back in your direction, and darts off in another direction.
I think we're going this way.
Okay. It bounces in the air in front of you, back and forth. It seems to continue on a straight path.
Zora's gonna follow.
How long does your divine sense last again?
Divine sense.
And it detects fiends, celestial, fae, and undead, I think.
It doesn't say how long it lasts. It just says until the end of your next turn.
Oh, so it would have only lasted. It would have
Oh.
been like poof, that.
Yeah.
The only fae you picked up was, of course, the sprite.
Yeah.
But
how deep have we gone so far?
you've probably traveled for a good 5 or 10 minutes, and so you're looking at covering probably 180 feet times 10, 1,800 feet. So you're pretty far into the forest.
I can burn this spell a couple times. I'll cast it again.
Okay.
Now that we're further in.
Faint. Very faint scent of fae other than the fairy. Or the sprite, I mean.
In the direction that the sprite is going?
Yep.
And how much stronger will it get? Like, I know it doesn't last very long,
I
but...
mean, you would have to cast it again because it's like there and gone.
Okay. So, walk...
There is no lingering.
Well, then I will walk a little further towards the direction that we were going.
Okay. Eventually you start to see some of the first signs. Sorry, Sarah. I just saw a cat's head peer over your shoulder, and I'm like, what? No, you're good. It was on the
She's
side.
like pulling my hair.
It was. I was just like, your familiar changed. Eventually, you see the first signs of life that aren't just trees and pine needles. Somehow, against all odds, in the cooler atmosphere that is here, because it's not cold, but it's cooler. Poking through some mushrooms are some bright red and white toadstool mushrooms in a ring.
Zora immediately knows. Nope.
The sprite flutters outside the edge and then flutters back and then flutters back to the edge of the ring.
Did someone come through there? She's just kind of looking at the sprite like,
This brings up another question then. What languages do you speak?
Zora speaks Common, Elvish, and Sylvan.
Ah, the language of the Fae.
She's a hodgepodge of a character, but she's a marginally organized hodgepodge.
The tiny fey creature stops in front of you, and you're saying this in common.
She's gonna switch to Sylvan because she figures it's a fey creature. It's probably gonna understand her better that way. Like the intent would be better carried that way.
As you ask the question, did someone come through here? This time in Sylvan, it responds back, "Aye, long ago."
How long ago? Like within the hours, within the days, within the eon?
I'm not sure. Time passes differently here than it does in the Fae.
Does
Could have been mere moments ago. Could have been a lot longer than that.
do you know of anyone that may frequent this forest, or that frequented this forest, that might be tied to that ring?
Kind of dances around in the air for a moment, like circling around, and looks back at you. Nobody I know of. Never seen this forest before in my life. First time setting eyes upon it.
That's fair. First time I've been here too.
It's not as green as I like it, but it's okay.
Yeah, at least it's trees though.
This is true. I do like the cold in the air.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable. If it gets any colder, I can almost see my breath.
Maybe we'll go north. Then we can definitely test that out. See if you can build snowballs.
I'll hold you to that.
Okay.
All right.
She looks back over her shoulder in common. They don't know. Someone could have been through here long ago, but they don't know this forest.
There's a tug on your hair. Not like a hard snatch, just a tug.
Mhm.
What is it we're looking for?
My friend, and she points over at Ezra, back to speaking in Sylvan, had an uneasy dream where someone they thought that may have been their mother was taken. And unlike most dreams, this one kind of crossed over, and he had marks on his back when he
Can I see him?
in common. Ezra, would you mind showing your scratch?
Not at all. Just sort of
Question mark. What languages does Ezra speak?
common and giant.
Okay.
I got to use giant though. I'm not upset.
This is true.
I know that feeling.
You did get to use giant.
More than my monk used it.
Giant.
Let's it floats over to in front of you, Ezra, and says a couple of words in a very lilting, flowing sound, but you have no idea what it said.
Sora. I don't understand.
He doesn't speak Sylvan, doesn't speak your language. Could you speak common so he would understand you?
Of course. And that comes out in common, like perfect common.
So small.
But so much sass. Squeeze you. An orange.
Mosquito.
No. If anything, you just like hold his hand out and let it stand on his hand if you wanted to.
You hold your hand out and it just kind of goes.
I don't. Is all his hair forward, just like showing the shoulder?
You said this was a nightmare, was it? Something frightful and terrible.
Yes.
You the first one that's had a nightmare here?
Well, I don't like the sound of that question.
As far as I know, and like looking across everyone to see if they have answers of whether they've had nightmares or not.
Not me.
I mean, I feel like we'd hear it from Satael if Satael had nightmares. Sorry, I don't think would tell us. As far as I know, we're I'm the only one.
Well, I've got good news and bad news for you.
Give it to me straight, Doc.
Well, I can't be sure, but I'm fairly certain it wasn't your mum. Not 100% certain.
Oh.
So that's the good news. Bad news. Salt the entire area and leave it for dead.
His back?
No,
The forest?
where the other humans live, where the people live, back in the town. Leave the town, salt the whole entire thing, ban it to the ground. Leave it there. Trust me, you didn't want what's there.
There's so many people living there. What?
That's a shame. Maybe they can relocate.
Why? What?
You had a nightmare, didn't you? I suspect if we go and sleep tonight, there'll be another nightmare. Maybe not you this time. Maybe you. Maybe the big one. pointing at Tangaroa. Maybe the smirking little one pointing at Mello.
Little one.
Comparatively.
He's standing next to Tanga and Ezra. He points to Mello and says the little one.
He's only a half an inch shorter than Tonga.
That would make him the little one.
We're the same height, excuse me.
I don't know. I think I kind of see like the little.
You're wearing lifts. It doesn't count.
I
You brushed your hair up higher.
I think that there's a noticeable.
It's the updo. He's
That's
gone
a
from
bouffant.
pomade to just straight tree sap.
If say we can't
Using the comb.
salt the entire town and burn the town to the ground and such, would there be a way to maybe get rid of whatever's causing this?
Well, it'll work the way most things do. You just hunt it down and kill it.
And what is it?
Well, if I'm right, and I pray I'm not, it could be a night hag. Are you familiar?
Mom used to tell me stories about them.
Not all things that come from the Feywilds are good. Hags, being some of them what do. Night hags in particular are not necessarily fey. They're more fiend. But, of course, as covens are formed, they traipse back and forth between the wilds and the Feywilds and this material plane and wherever else it is they want to go. Particularly nasty things, giving nightmares to people. Or, and here's just a thought, I could be wrong about the whole thing. I mean, all you've told me so far is you had a nightmare about your mum and that she was drug away from you. And now you're out here traipsing around the woods with a sprite, no less.
Do they tend to leave items behind?
Yeah, it depends on what their goal is. But I would take it that I'm sure they mean you no harm.
No harm, that's not what it felt like.
No, it's definitely not. They want to. Yeah.
Can you find this night hag? If it is what it is.
Could I find it? Sure, I could. I won't. I don't know if you notice, and it like sits up close. It can like whisper at you. I'm a bit small. And night hags, they are not. They are quite large. Quite large indeed. Well, for me, for you, they might not be, but you know, I get squished on, and there's a tiny.
If I wasn't paying attention, I wouldn't have even heard it probably.
Look,
We should
I'm
see if
mo-
this thing has been terrifying the town. Terrorizing, that's the word.
That would be smart. But in any sense, that fairy ring, if you know the right words to say, could summon forth something or send you across into the Feywild if you know how to get across, which I do.
But we don't know what it would summon.
Hmm.
You said there's good stuff and bad stuff that comes across, and I don't think anyone would appreciate us bringing back bad stuff.
Good, bad. It's more of a grey area.
True, but if the gray area could get someone injured, I'd rather not.
Fair enough. Then I would suggest kicking over the whole thing. And he flits over and sits down on one of the toadstools, or he like stands on it, and he mimics like like a field goal kicker, just kicking his foot. Give it a kick.
Do you think there'd be trouble if we left it for the night, perhaps?
Oh, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure I'm wrong about the night hag. There's nothing to worry about here.
I'm sure you're just being facetious.
I
She says in
don't even
Sylvan.
know I don't even know the meaning of the word. He says back in Sylvan. No, seriously, I don't know the meaning of that word.
I really don't either. I just keep hearing people say it.
So why would you use a word that you don't know the meaning of?
It's not going to summon anything.
Are you just trying to make yourself seem erudite?
I don't know the meaning of that word.
I don't either. I just heard it once.
Good idea.
So all you hear is
Just arguing.
back and forth.
I'm gonna start stomping on mushrooms.
No. No, I'm going to
Too late.
Abello. No, no. The moment I see Abello going forward, Ezra's just grabbing him around.
You
On the
stomp
way
on the first
lifting
one
it.
and you go larger inside. No, I'm kidding.
God.
If he is going to stop on it, Zora's going to at least grab one, maybe to take back, just to see what type of mushroom it might
He told you it's a toadstool.
be. Okay.
It's a
Nothing
red-capped
fancy.
Toadstool.
So is there nothing that we can do besides just wait it out and wait for something to happen?
You
Is that
could
what
try
we're
that.
doing?
I mean,
Yes,
we have
give
a
me-
whole library.
I don't enjoy these visions, whether it was a dream or a nightmare. If not, if I were to claw myself in my sleep, I would have left marks. Just hold up my hands. It's
Well,
got sharp claws. If
why
I did
don't
that in my sleep,
why don't we, for the night, just have some sort of like, I don't want to say something cliche like buddy system, but if we could watch each other sleep to make sure that nothing is disturbing us, so we could take shifts. I'm not sure. Where am I going with this? If we
Wanting to have
see
a slumber party?
maybe not quite that, but just to make sure that it's not disturbing any of us, and if it is, maybe we can interfere with its magic or something. I'm not really familiar with the Fey world at all. Nothing that my people deal with.
Question is, what happens if we wake up before that dream has run its course?
What if we don't?
Zor, what's your passive perception, please?
11.
That's enough. Your sprite friend, you
Mhm.
still feel the connection to it on this plane, but as you look around, you realize that it's not anywhere to be seen.
She kind of sense distance on him.
Oh, he's still like in this area.
In Sylvan. Where did you go?
Shh. I'm not sure what's coming, but you might want to hide.
Yeah, Meaty, like, we should get some cover.
You stand
that's
really close to the
ominous.
tree.
I was about to say, I'm like, can I just... Is there a big enough tree to hide me?
Most of the limbs aren't. I mean, yeah, there's a big enough tree around, but most of the limbs are up higher than what you can. You're a monk though, so you can move like mock Jesus, so it doesn't matter.
I also have basically a misty step. Worst comes to worst.
I'm climbing a tree.
Give me an athletics roll.
Can I give
just
him a
did,
boost?
and it was actually a 20, dirty 20.
Yeah, you find plenty of
Misty hug.
grip within the bark to like pull yourself up in the small pieces of the bark, and you do so masterfully, and you find yourself. You're probably about 20 feet off the ground or so. In the first, and those are the lowest limbs, are like between 15 to 20 feet up.
All right.
The rest of you, what are you doing?
I want to try and hide, but somewhere as close as I can be without being unseen, so that I'm kind of like an on guard kind of position.
Stealth check. You're wearing heavy armor?
Yes, 19.
Disadvantage.
Fuck. 15.
Okay. All right, Ezra, what are you doing?
Hiding behind a tree.
Stealth
Best
check.
I can do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, I'm not wearing heavy armor. I'm wearing medium armor because I'm only wearing a breastplate.
Double check and think. Some of the medium armor still give advantage on there.
I'll look that up.
Yeah. Look up breastplate, see if it gets disadvantage on there. Okay, what did you get for your stealth?
18.
And you're not wearing any armor, right?
Oh no. Just my pants.
Does not provide disadvantage on stealth checks.
All right, so 19 would have been stand.
Yes.
All right, good deal. Okay. And you said, what did you get again? And then Ezra. No,
18.
Ezra, what did you get? 19?
18.
18. Okay, and Zora?
She's gonna find a tree, crouch down, and like druid craft some kind of like try to druid craft something to hide herself. Like extra pine needles. Go.
It's just a plank of bark with a chicken.
I just
drawn on it.
imagine you literally scooped up a bunch of pine needles and then just like put them on yourself, but then he kind of slid off so that you see these one little tiny like sets of pine needles come and put them on there. And there's another little tiny set as they're being flown over by your sprite friend who is currently invisible.
Yeah, just like trying to hide at a base of a tree because she's not going to be able to
Go
climb
ahead
a
and
tree.
give me a stealth check.
When will I be able to just throw somebody up into the thing?
What's
That
your
would be a
strength?
3.
Plus 4.
Well,
18.
Plus 4. You have an 18 strength?
Yeah.
Because I rolled a 1.
She would have, if you could try to chuck Zora up a tree if you want to.
Do you want to lift?
And then she's like covered in pine needles, like attempting at this point. Sure.
It's like, it's just basically, they keep sliding off of her.
Yeah.
So she's now just sitting
we'll
in a
put you up in a tree. I think that's our best bet.
Gotta toss me.
All right. Wait! Don't tell the elf. All right.
Literally,
Go
we have
ahead
an
and give me an athletics check from Ezra.
Athletics?
Yes, because you are hucking someone in the air.
Roll to yeet.
Yes, actually, it is. You rolled a yeet.
24. I rolled an 18 and I have a plus 6.
You do that. You lock your fingers, and Zora gets a good like 3 or 4 steps, and as the foot hits, you just like a caber toss and huck her into the air. She goes, poof. Give me a dexterity saving. Actually, give me an acrobatics check if you have acrobatics.
Please.
It's the same. We'll find out. Okay.
I mean, I'll try and catch her, but
18.
That's good enough. You actually go past the first limb, almost to the second one, and then you try to grab it. And as you do, your feet like perfectly touch on the one below. You quickly wrap your arms around the limb, so you're standing on one, and there's another one that you've got your arms around. And you just
like,
look down and see Ezra going.
That was my first person toss. That was fun.
How do I get down from here now? Okay, we'll figure that out later.
I'll catch you later, I guess.
As you finish, catch you later. Good night. As you finish,
I just got that.
it's Sarah Huckatry.
Wait a minute.
She just
Hugging
groaned at me.
trees. Fairy. I think there's a movie very much like this.
Uh-huh.
You're
All
doing
right.
great, sweetie.
As you,
What? Who?
are you sure?
What?
As you get into the tree and the rest of you take your place, there is the sound of something moving in the forest. It's a step and a shuffle and a step and a shuffle, like the train of a dress being drug across soft carpet. Give me perception checks, all of you.
Oh,
16.
16.
7.
Seven.
15 for Zora.
Mhm.
13 for the sprite.
Okay. As you watch, coming into the area where you're at, making a way over to the clearing is a woman in her middle ages. She still passes for fair. Her hair is a chestnut colored with small bits of silver here and there. She has a very motherly look about her. The edges of her hair curl into small ringlets that fall down. The rest of it is plaited so that it all kind of like flows together. And she kind of moves in the way, and she sees the fairy ring that's been crushed. At this point in time, I'm not even angry. I'm just disappointed. People don't know when to leave things alone.
Glares down the branch at Mellow.
Are you still here?
Oh no, that's Portal. Never mind.
Are you still there?
Yeah.
She kind of like turns her face, and you can see that she's, like I said, she's very fair for her age. She's very pretty. But she looks around for a moment, and she keeps turning her head. Fine. If you'd like to stay hidden, then that's up to you. I'm going to leave and go back to my home. Please try not to cause any more disturbances. I
Ezra will
will
step out.
recognize it in this forest.
Ezra will step out. I'll step out.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Lurking about in the woods, trying to catch women unawares. And she kind of clutches at her bodice a little bit.
Not my intention.
Well, then what are your intentions?
I'm searching for something.
Aren't we all in some way or form? What are you looking for?
Something that came to me in the night.
Well, I'm no one's lover, so it wasn't me.
Do you live in the forest?
I make my home where I find fit. What about you? Where's your home?
Many places. The forest, the sea.
Well traveled, are you?
Yes.
Well, what would you have of me? I'm no one.
You're the first person I've seen across the forest.
While they're doing this, can I cast Divine Sense again?
You may. Uh-huh. She is lighting up.
Like a bad light up? Like
She is a fiend.
I apologize for the The mushroom circle? I'm afraid my size sometimes gets the best of me.
Well, there's nothing for it now. I'll have to figure out another place to grow one. What is your name?
Ezra. And yours?
Ah, Madam Clang.
A pleasure.
And she's still kind of standing away from you. Again, she seems to have relaxed her hand from her shirt. It is a pleasure to meet you, Ezra.
Would she be able to see me if I peeked my head out and looked over at the two of them? Or am I fairly well hidden?
You mean you're pretty well hidden. And you're not doing anything to draw attention to yourself.
No, well, I want to draw Ezra's attention, not in a talk away, but be like...
That might give you away. You'd have to give me another stealth check to see if you can do it, or sleight of hand.
I don't think I have any of those. Matter. All right, yeah, I'll try. I just go. 16.
Perception check. What's your passive? 11.
16. My passive's a 16.
You do see the waving, frantic hands of your friend Tunga. However, as you look past her to see him, her head darts around. Her passive is 16, so. So, now you're trying to ambush me.
Not in the slightest.
No, you've got it all wrong.
And she starts trying to back away from you, deeper into the woods.
We will let you go peacefully. We don't.
Yes,
we
you
don't
will.
mean to start a fight.
There is a satchel, like a pouch or a purse on her side. She reaches into it as she's keeping her hand up and she's starting to back away slowly. Yes, you'll let me go. I want no trouble or quarrel from either of you.
There is no trouble.
Okay. And she starts to back away. Are you going to try to stop her, Mello, or are you doing anything, Zora?
Palms sweaty.
Vomit on your sweater already?
Morning
Ooh.
spaghetti.
Would Zora have any previous knowledge of night hags or hags in general?
What is her knowledge? What is Zora's knowledge of fiends? Because your pact is with the Fae, you'd probably know more about
Yeah.
them than you would fiends.
Makes sense to say, would she know possibly what that lady would be carrying to be reaching for a satchel, almost as like a defense thing?
You get the idea that it's probably spell components.
Yeah. She's gonna try and keep quiet because she has a feeling more people popping up, especially in trees, probably isn't a good idea.
Is anyone going to try to make an attempt to stop her, or are you guys going to let her go?
Madam Clang?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't mean to frighten you. A vision through the night brought me here. And it was not a pleasant vision. My only question is if you had anything to do with that, or if there's something else in this forest that...
She looks around the forest to her left and to her right and kind of past your shoulder. What would I have anything to do with your nightmares and visions? I'm just an old apothecary. Here in this forest, taking care of my needs and occasionally those of the people of the town.
We're just curious. It caused my friend here quite a fright, and we're trying to find out any information that we can about this matter.
You're
We do not
causing
mean. We do not mean to offend. We're just trying to figure something out.
I'm not offended. I'm just wary. I don't like strangers much, especially when they come into droves into the forest and pop out of the shadows unbeknownst to me. Are there any more of you skulking about?
No.
Waiting to ambush, I would say. And you see her pull her hand out of the pouch and it's just clutched around something you can't see because it's in her grip.
It's just the two of us.
Just the two of us. All right. Okay. And with that, you watch as she says, "Right, I'm sure." And she goes, and as she does, fine sand seems to fill the air around you. Please hold.
Please hold and then dice rolling sounds are always reassuring.
Multiple.
Let's see. Who has the lowest HP out of the four of you that are here?
Not me.
I knew this is what you were casting.
I have
got
30.
24.
Mello?
25.
Oof.
So the lowest is Zora. You cannot help. You yawn, and your eyes draw heavy. And before you know it, your grip on the tree slips. And you're dreaming that you can fly and that everything is great.
This is fine.
Ezra, you've moved from your position, but you hear a
Are we turning?
there is Zora plummeting from the tree. You have a moment to react. What are you
Yep.
doing?
Going to try and catch her.
Dexterity saving throw.
18.
You dive at the last second through the air, wrapping your arms. As you do, you roll over onto your back and collide with the ground. You are going to take 2 points of damage as you slide into the tree. Your shoulder hurt, but Zora is in your arms, safe. But
Probably
sleeping
snoring.
like this small baby. Like a tiny baby. As you look back, Madame Clang is gone. She's disappeared.
Best that we leave her. We should return.
Sneaky suspicion that she's part of this, depending on if Zora is dreaming or not.
She is a fiend. I could sense it. She could have been trouble. We don't want to find trouble out here.
All she did was get her escape. She wanted.
Well, she was a more docile one, I suppose.
True. Mello,
But
do
I
you
would
need
rather
help
not.
down from that tree?
Poof. It was a sound of him falling. Ah!
3-point landing.
Keep-
3-point landing.
Keep slapping the tree and falling like a foot and a half.
You're
I'm
gonna
sure
rip your
that's-
hands up doing that.
I'm sure that's how it works.
It's covered
That's
in
exactly
bark
how
and
it works.
sap.
I threw you. I could catch you.
Fall into his arms, Mello.
Fall gently into his arms, Mellow.
I'll catch him. If he jumps, I will catch him. I sure hope I
If
will.
you fall, I will catch you and be with you.
Just this once.
Well, I'm
I
watching.
will be waiting. Time after time.
No, just this once.
You won't be saying that if I catch you.
All right, dexterity saving throw from Molly.
Oh, from me?
Yeah,
Okay,
from Tango.
cool. 17.
Okay, yeah, you do catch Mello in your arms. In your waiting arms, you kind of bend at the knees and catch him easily enough. He's got his arms wrapped around your neck.
It's like a romance novel cover.
It's just, but way more awkward, which says a lot.
Go to his face. My hero.
You were gross. It puts him down.
Just drops him. On the
And we're done.
My hero. No.
Mm-mm. I don't
Alright,
play
what-
hero.
What are the four of you wackos doing?
Well, Ezra's trying to wake Zora. If not, he'll just carry her.
I mean, yeah, you can just pat her gently awake.
Oh,
This
should
is the
this,
monk.
should this be me waking her up? I feel like Mellow's a more pleasant pace.
You tell me. You're all pointy teeth going, hey.
Wake
Yeah.
up.
Wakey, wakey. It's,
Just
well,
like to
noon,
Zora?
I guess.
Zora. Hello?
I never.
I don't want to go
Oh.
to school.
5 more minutes.
5 more.
No. Are you still holding on?
Or like he would have like propped her up, probably like
Okay.
holding her up and like, wake up. Hello.
All right.
She wakes up easily enough. She had a bunch of sisters, and yeah, she doesn't sleep through much.
All right. While you guys are then you're making your way back to the keep. Back
As much
to the
as I'd
monastery.
like to continue exploring, I feel like coming across her again would not be in our well-being.
I mean, we could always follow our new little friend's advice.
Burn the whole town to the ground?
I mean, at least the forest.
No.
I would rather not.
It's a nice.
I'm saying it's an option.
My
you should
mother
listen
would.
to someone whose advice you asked for.
If my mother ever found out that I caused destruction to nature, she would castrate me. I don't
It's the
think
natural progression of nature. Some seeds don't even open unless there's fire.
so. Are you sure about that? Insight check.
Go for it.
18.
yeah, actually.
Oh.
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
actually.
All right, sure, I'll take that.
All right, you guys make your way back to town. Starry. Let's see what you've been getting up to. That is not a 10. That is an 8. Okay. I like where this is at. This is good for us.
That terrifies me.
Define us.
Us. Like all of us.
Universal us.
Yeah, absolutely. All.
The royal we.
No. What do you want to do? Is there anything you want to do?
I'm gonna see if the person who put up the flyer is still like anywhere close,
Give me an investigation check.
because those always go so well for me. Well, that's a 4.
Jesus. You start making your way around asking about who put up the flyers. As
What's a
you
flyer?
do so, there you head to one of the printer shops and one of the print shops there in town, asking and making inquiry about it. They take affront to your questioning and basically the tone that you're using, which isn't far-fetched to believe. And they ask you in no polite words to leave the establishment and never darken their doorstep again. roll me another investigation check, please.
Well, that's not much better. That's an 8.
Okay, some more inquiries, but nobody seems to turn up anything. They're not hostile to you, but they just seem to be, we don't know. It could have been somebody. You're given a couple of places to check out, but when you arrive there doesn't seem to be anybody at those locations. You want to keep pushing it? See what else you can find?
There doesn't seem to be anybody at those locations.
Doesn't seem to be anybody at those locations.
Well, next step's the underground.
All right. Roll a d20.
Oh, shit. Well, that's a 16. Kind of wish I
Okay.
rolled that on my damn investigation, but I mean, I guess.
All right. That's actually good. As you start to make your way to the underground, seeing and settling in with people using the language and the smarts that you have, you actually make a couple of allies in this area. They tell you, one of them tells you that they've been making trips to the local area and they've seen the posters like this, not specifically this one, like in other locations, but similar type things posted up. So it may not necessarily be here. It may be something where they've been asking one of their own hired men or persons to go to town and hand out these flyers, making more as they need to.
And then she's going to make inquiries as if they've heard anything from Pendleton Vale.
Um,
And the general political landscape of the city.
They tell you that they've not had any news from there, but that they will keep an eye out for you. As a matter of fact, you guys spend enough time together that they become allied contacts. So in the city, you have made 2 allied contacts within this city,
Okay.
allowing you to use a feature of, I know a guy. Think of your allies as a resource from here on out. If you need to use them while you're in this city, you can. But once you've burned that ally, like asking them to do a favor for you, asking them to find out information, that contact is burned in regards to that.
Okay.
That doesn't mean they're hostile towards you. It just means they can't help you out anymore. You've kind of expended your favor with them.
Right. In that case, since I'm in the underground,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look for a fighting pit.
All right. Yeah, they actually do have one here. They have very specific rules on it, and you get the rundown on how that is going to go, which we will give everybody when we return. Give us 10 minutes. We'll be back 5 after the hour to the rest of the show. We're going to go refill our drinks and maybe get a little bit to nosh on. We'll be back soon. Stay tuned. Invite your friends. Tell them that the best is yet to come. Go ahead and get the word out there. All right. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks.
action. Drop the clutch, pedal to the floor. Turn that giddy butt into a lion's roar. Dream machine, racing queen. I'll take you wherever you wanna go. Let's slow this down, break the speed of sound. Tonight we own the road. Dream machine, racing queen.
Please
And
don't.
We are live. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you very much for the break there. We refreshed our drinks and into that weird. It's like your dad yelling at you in the back seat. Knock it off! That's really what my life is these days. It's just
Let's
the
go
dad
around.
yelling. I will turn this adventure around and take every one of you back home. All right. Well, if you'd like to find out what kind of weird conversations we get up to, and what kind of funny things we talk about, and all of groovy costumes and things like that, you can join our Discord. If you would, it's free to join, does not require anything, and we appreciate and love everybody joining in and jump into the conversation. Ask any questions that you want to about the characters. Ask any questions you want to about running D&D in particular, or any other game system that we run, which I've got more up in my head than I can remember. So feel free to ask any questions about running games, being as a player, coming up with new strategies and things like that. We love that kind of stuff. So feel free to join the Discord. It again is open to everyone. There are sections of it that are locked and are for patrons only. Speaking of, we do have a Patreon page. Please feel free to join us. You can start reading about the characters that are here in this game. The first one for Zastari is already up. As well as we'll have one for all of the characters coming up here in the following weeks as we go one by one, little bit by little bit. The shoulder parrot, aka shoulder kitten, is not being very. He doesn't
He
want to
likes
play.
bitey things.
He doesn't want to play nice today.
Yeah, she's just gonna be behind me, trying to unroot my hair for me.
It's okay. That's what they do.
I need it.
You can also support us here on Twitch, or we also have a coffee page up. So if you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee, we'd appreciate that. We always are so grateful for any sub, any patron, anything like that. We really appreciate all that you guys do for us, and just know that it goes to support things like the song that we had at the beginning of the stream. There, we bought music using your support. Zoom is continued thanks to your support. There are a lot of things that we do, licensing with different things that are all possible through you guys. So we appreciate all of your support. Even if you can't buy a subscription, retweet, share the link on Facebook, let people know that we're out here doing this, invite them to come along, and especially since we do kind of, I think we're entertaining. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but feel free to join in. Again, we're here on Monday. So enough pimping us out. Let's get right back to it. You made 2 allied contacts you can use to further investigate information, but what you gathered from your town inquiring, rubbing
man,
elbows
thing.
with the townies, the townsfolk, that they don't know who particularly it was that put these up. That it could have been from another city, it could have been from somewhere else. So it wasn't really helpful in that information. What now?
Well, I found fighting pits.
Ah, that's right. You did. One of your new friends takes you to the fighting pit. It is basically packed earth that's been dug out into a square and has been packed all the way around on the sides and everything else like that. So it's an interesting place. You can see that it's a short jump down into the pits. They come up to about, if you jump down there, they'd be probably to about your neck or shoulders. Actually, you're wearing those big ass heels. It'd probably be up to about your chest, which is where most of the fighters are. As you dive into the pit, as you start to look around the pit, you can see that there are a few rules that they go over for you. There's no fighting to the death unless a special agreement has been made by all parties. They do fight, and whoever yields first is the loser. Generally, there's no weapons. It's all hand-to-hand combat. Get in there, wrap your fists, or don't. It's up to you, and punch away at things. There is some gold to be made, and depending on what night you go in here, there's more gold to be made. He does tell you that tonight is not particularly one of their busier nights, but if you were looking to get in to see what it's like, that tonight would probably be a better night for it.
So not during the day. I'd have to come tonight.
Yeah, there's
In the evening.
nobody fighting during the day. Most of the people that will be there are the townsfolk who are working. Some of the guys off of the boats and the ships and things like that, definitely. And he tells you, he kind of smiles as he leans forward. And on some nights, we even have some of the upper crust that come hobnobbing down in the lows, if you will. Yeah, they make for some fine times. Mum's the word on their appearance here, of course, but if you know how to press the right palms, those are the nights that are the most lucrative, especially if you get yourself in with a house betting on you or a house backing you, if you catch my drift.
Of course. We talking foreign houses or local houses?
Oh, local. Occasionally foreign. We've had one of the trading companies actually represent one of their men from far away. This guy had ebony skin, like a jet, like black jet stone, and white hair that was standing up in the middle of his head. Pointed ears like an elf. Fought like the devil possessed him.
Any chance we got nobles coming in tonight?
I can see if we can't scrounge some up. Generally, though, they're not here tonight. It would be more of along the lines of like tomorrow night if we're lucky. But if I get word out that there might be a newcomer with some, a little too much spunk and not enough smarts, then possibly we could make some deals. You looking to get backed by one of the locals?
Oh no. It's a foreigner. Because Who doesn't like showing off local pride?
So you're not looking to get okay.
No.
Oh, you want to take down one of their toughs. I got you. You want to show up the townies. Okay.
And
I like
show
you.
up I will. You said tomorrow night?
Tomorrow evening.
We should still be around by then.
Good.
Let
Hope to
them
see you in
know.
rare form.
Oh, I will be. Let them know that the champion of Zelstina is looking for a challenger.
Somebody walks in here saying I'm looking for challengers. That's a quick way to get yourself into a fight.
That's
I'll
the
make sure that
point.
it sticks to the pits.
Appreciate it.
Of course. You guys have had a few hours. You make it back. Eric Satiel, you've finished researching all of the things that you want to, and have found your way just kind of meandering now, looking around the halls and things like that, tinkering about. Your father asked for some delicate fingers and hands and things.
Yeah.
Zastari, you make your way back to the monastery.
Yeah.
Okay. Satiel, as you are kind of just drifting in thought,
Mm-hmm.
an unfamiliar but comfortable familiar voice whispers in the back of your head. Can I help you with anything? You've been quiet for so long. I thought that you had forgotten me.
Keen mind. Is this a voice he knows?
Give me a sanity check.
Okay. $22.
Okay. Your mind diverges from being in your own thoughts, but these feelings that you've always had with you, to hearing a clear voice that says, I've been trying to reach through to you. And while you recognize that there are two paths that are parallel and they cross and touch at times, you recognize that you're on a different path than where you were before. And this voice, whenever the path originally diverged, it came through crystal clear as though it had been talking to you the whole time, but you couldn't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Some guiding force, and it's the same voice.
Same voice. Okay.
Mhm.
It's like, well, just been lost in thought recently. Been traveling. He's speaking in his head, not out loud.
Mhm.
It's like we've been traveling a lot. Had a lot in my mind. I'm worried about my friends. There's something that happened to one of them, and I hope they're all right. Sorry, I haven't talked much. I had to spend a lot of my effort making sure none of us drowned out at sea.
Well, I've always been there. I I hope that I can guide you and show you where you need to go.
I'll pause and hold that thought. And he'll dash off to his room. And before closing the door, he'll pull out the fruit and set it on the table and sit back. Can you see through my senses?
Not in so much, but in a way, in a manner of speaking.
Okay, because I had this fruit here. None of the books I was able to look up had anything familiar. There's some familiar fruits, but none of it actually was this fruit. And I don't know if she can see,
Mm-hmm.
but I will describe it.
Okay.
As I scroll through my notes to make sure I didn't write something down. And all I have is told to take a fruit
Okay.
and keep it with him. Yeah, I don't have any description.
It has an outer skin that
Mhm.
reminds you of a morning sunrise. It's all oranges and yellows. More yellows than oranges. It almost looks like a round bean of some giant stalk,
Mhm.
about that big. You smell it, and you can't really pick up a lot of a scent to it, but it has
Mhm.
something exotic that you've not had.
Although him being him, Sawtail being Sawtail, instead of like directly sniffing it, he'd be like, do the whole chemistry thing.
Wafting it towards you.
Yeah.
It's sweet, not pungent, and it's not overbearing. You think that the membrane that surrounds the fruit inside probably is doing a very good job of maintaining that. Like there's not even moisture on the outside of it where like any of the sap or the juice of it is flowing through.
Mhm. Yeah. I describe that and then follow that up with this. I got this from when we changed the path from the illithids that were watching it.
I do not know what it is, but I'm sure that it would alter something fundamental in your brain. I don't know that I distrust it, nor do I trust it either. It is hard to say.
Well, I haven't been doing anything with it. It's just been. I mean, I know it's magical in some form because it's been sitting in my bag for over a month and hasn't changed at all, really.
Who wants to throw some bits to have him eat the fruit?
Mm-mm. Satio just would not. Period. But I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I should try to destroy it.
I can't advise you on this. I don't understand it. I can tell you, though, if you feel it is important, then perhaps you should hold on to it.
That's the thing, is I don't know.
Counsel from me or someone else might be advised. Counsel from someone else might be advised.
I could ask my father, see
Your
what he might know. He is one of the wisest men I know.
Give it to the orphans. All right, kids, come get a piece of mystery fruit.
What could go wrong?
Stuff it down the hag's throat. Choke
It-
on this.
It would either go really bad or really well.
I
Yeah.
have made you a salad as peace offering.
It's empirical experimentation.
Like rubber throat. Eat it. Eat it.
Cut it into small pieces. Hand each one of them.
Hmm.
Okay.
But sitting in his room alone, making sure there's no one in there, he'll just put it in a bag and he'll one of his spare bags, and he will just put it back in his pack for now because he doesn't know if he should just leave it here.
Feed it to Archibald.
If he leaves it out by mistake,
Awoken chicken.
oh no.
But ideas. But he'll sit there, lean back, and is like, I'm. The other thing that sort of eats at me is I don't know if I should reveal what I am to the rest of them or not.
That is a quandary that I might be able to help you with. There are so very few of you in this world. I don't believe that they would fear. I believe that they may not understand. And of course, they will ask questions.
Questions I don't have the answers to.
So
I don't know
far,
how I ended up how I am.
well, in time, I think you will discover much more about yourself.
Hmm.
I must go, but in a quiet time, we will speak again.
Before you leave, would you... This might seem like a silly question. Would you prefer if we turn these talks into sort of a nightly thing?
If you so wish.
I kind of do feel bad that that I said I'd talk to you more, and then we got caught up in here's the ocean, try not to drown.
Hmm.
And
Then I will speak to you this evening.
I'd like that.
Of course. And the voice just kind of fades.
I'll just take a moment, sit there and just take a breath, 2 breaths, just why is this so hard to do? But he will stand up and then leave the room, and he'll go looking for his friends. Figure out what kind of trouble they've been up to.
As you all sort of reconvene as if some higher power were fating it to be so, you arrive just about the time that dinner is being laid out in the pavilion.
Really, dinner is the higher power.
Really, dinner is the higher power. We're all
It is.
guided by food.
Mm-hmm.
You make your way into the pavilion, and you can see Thider, the Satael's father, the dwarf, standing there. He kind of glances over the lot of you as though he senses that some of you are troubled. Some of you look just purely beside themselves, Astari. You're just happy.
I'm just gonna kind of skip up next to Ezra, tap him on his upper arm, and just, your scrying's been paid for, by the way.
What?
I dealt with the payment for your scrying.
Oh.
I had a schematic.
Thank you.
I don't think you have 50 gold pieces, do you?
Patting my empty pockets.
And
Maybe.
yes, Satiel would also sign up. Was like, well, I did some research, a lot of research, actually. However, things like this aren't exactly as common. Best I could determine is in some cases it might be a portent of a kind of something that might come to pass or something that already has.
There was a fiend.
The second Tonga says that, my head snaps around immediately. What?
In the forest. I met a
Around the-
woman.
Madam Clang?
From around the tall people. What do you know about night hags?
Dad!
Dad?
No, Sawtail sounds mad.
He walks over to you, hands clasped behind his back.
Zora suddenly looks like she's in trouble for some reason.
So,
Bushy eyebrows still there.
I apologize for the tone, but you know how I feel about fiends.
As do I.
We seem to have one in the forest.
Oh, that would explain quite a bit.
She
Did you
didn't
lay
really
eyes upon her?
Yes.
really seem to do anything but want to leave.
Suspiciously docile.
She introduced herself. She was upset somebody stepped and broke a mushroom circle,
Hmm.
glaring at Mello.
And you
I'm
said
sorry,
something
I take
about-
advice.
You said something about night hags?
She points at the sprite, who's probably like half hidden in her hair.
Oh, the sprite can turn invisible, so
Yeah, I'm assuming like, when he's
Um,
either hidden in the hair or invisible.
peeks its head out. Aye, there's a bit of a night hike in the forest. Something to worry about.
What is that?
That is, what is your name? I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I'm
Good
gonna call you
character. I didn't give
Kevin.
him one. Kevin is great.
Kevin the sprite.
I'm more of a Chad.
Yikes!
Not just a
Fair.
regular Chad sprite, you know.
The Chad.
He's wearing
A
an
regular Chad.
Ed Hardy leather
Okay.
jerkin. It's bedazzled on the sides. It's just a oak leaf.
I suddenly just that Quizat sounds really good
Closet.
right now.
Sounds good. He says no. You can call him Axel.
Okay. Axel, yeah, he's probably a night hag. He
Okay.
advised to salt the city and burn it, but we're not going to do that.
Well, it's the best idea. Well, you're not going to go out and fight it, are you?
We're not burning down my.
Are we?
You
I'd
can
like
make a
to
new home.
question her.
You humans are quite industrious people.
None of us are humans.
Ezra's just like
Incorrect.
Sorry.
posting.
Sorry.
Ezra's
One
just
of
like
us
pointing
is a
at
human.
Satael.
Well,
One of
Okay.
us.
Satiel doesn't say anything to that. He just stares at the sprite.
you human-like people are a bit industrious. I've seen what you can build in a short period of time. Your lives are so short. It's amazing you get
Don't-
anything done.
People don't have some people don't have the money to just rebuild like that. You can't expect people just to be able to rebuild. That's not how this works.
What's
Would it-
money?
There's our problem.
Okay,
Would it
we're
be-
not burning the city, which which means which means somebody has to deal with the hag. It doesn't have to be us.
Yes, it does.
I'd like to
No,
question
it
the hag.
doesn't.
He turns. He walks over. I walk over. Stare Zestari in the face. I am not letting a fiend terrorize my home.
And
You-
she's just gonna
me?
reach up and gently cuff his face and just, we may not be qualified. I don't know about you, but I've never taken on a hag before, and I really don't want to chance it right now.
So you can hide for whomever is trying to find you.
Nobody's trying to find me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Then why were you so insistent on me forgetting what I saw?
Because it's a useless piece of information. We've gone over this.
What did you see?
Zora's re-hiding behind the tall people.
Satiel I just straighten up, sort of gives Zestari a look, and then turns and goes back to his father. So, you want me to do some research on how to deal with a hag, or is there anybody
Would
else?
would it be wiser to find her once again or wait for her to return to us? Because if that was her that came to Ezra in the night, is there's any say that she might just come back? Could there be a trap? I'm not positive how this works.
I
won't
like
let
the
her
idea
fool
of a
me
trap.
this time.
I'll say, in the 3 decades of me learning here, is this something that I might potentially have come across? Of
It
just
is
hags in general.
No,
Basically.
but it is a giant library.
That's why I'm asking.
To the library!
You have not personally come across anything about this? No. However, it's a giant library.
I'll pause and right. I have some rations. I'm gonna skip dinner. And I'm gonna go back to the archives.
Can I help?
I could use all the help I could get because somebody needs to do something.
Library hunting montage.
Yeah.
Quickest way to learn out about a night hag? A montage.
Ezra barely helps. He's just. I open a book.
All the books are upside down. He
Puts
closes
it
it.
down. He knows that. I know how to read. He knows how to read.
Satiel knows exactly where stuff is as long as he knows the nomenclature for it.
Ezra
will
just reach
The
it.
Dewey Decimal System. As long as he knows it, he knows exactly where shit is.
But do he? Do he?
That's the question. It's a big ass library.
Big
Well,
ass
this-
library.
Completely overshadows what I was going to suggest that we do tomorrow night, but I mean, sure.
I mean, that's tomorrow night. Do something tomorrow night. Do what tomorrow night?
Well, I mean, it's
Pinky.
a chance for us to make some money.
Patting my empty pockets again. Oh.
Nothing terrible. It's all relatively legal.
I almost feel like I should make you give a deception check on that, but it kind of technically is.
Plain relatively.
Well, nobody's fighting to the death. It's to yield.
How do you always find fights?
She's good at them.
Ah,
And
I
for
know
cash,
people want
nonetheless?
to. For cash.
Why?
Because
I guess
maybe
it's just
we
like
need to
wrangling
outfit ourselves. Maybe we
chicken.
want to make a donation to the monastery that's been putting us up for the last 2 days and will continue to be putting us up until we leave. So we have a little bit of spending money because we haven't gotten paid by that woman we signed a contract with. Because I don't know about you, but I'm running a little bit dry on funds.
I just made some money last night doing a perfectly harmless task.
You got ridiculously drunk.
I
Got
lived.
lucky.
I
That come out of your nose. That almost come out of your nose there.
But I think it would be good for the two bigger of our party to perhaps assist.
Depending on what it
I mean,
is.
you can come check it out. You don't have to sign up right away.
No killing.
No killing. Promise. Her
I'll
hands are not
consider it.
shaking. They're not fidgeting. They are up. She is telling the truth. This is literally in the rules that no fight is to the death. That is to the yield.
I will consider it,
Well, if
but
you
I
will
won't
consider
enjoy
then...
it.
Oh my god.
I'll
nobody said you
consider
had to enjoy
pummeling
it.
this dude, but I'm not gonna enjoy pummeling this dude.
Zastari is going to wait for like dinner to be served. She's going to get a tray and fill it with plates for everybody who's in the library. And then she is just going to take food to the library.
Well, keep
as
in
long as she
mind,
can get permission to do so without offending anybody.
when you're talking about the people in the library, do you mean your party?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, they don't have a problem with it. I thought when you said taking to the people in the library, I was like, I thought you were taking it to the monks or the brothers that work there,
No, just
or brothers
my
and
party.
sisters that
The
work
ones
there.
that I know are going there. She's going to come in with
Oh,
food
okay.
and something
With
along
that
the
being
lines
said,
of rations are not filling enough
yeah,
to be doing what you're doing.
show of hands of who all is working in the library. Okay, so you two, you
I
three,
can't read.
Zora,
4.
you two can't.
Yeah, Zora will try.
Okay. Okay. With that being said, then, Jesus Christ, Tonga and Mela, what are you guys doing?
Oh no, we've left them alone together again.
That's why I said
Yes!
Jesus Christ.
Bro, time.
Dude, bro is just two guys being dudes.
It's the Melarenga show. It's the Melaroa show.
Hello, Roa.
It's the Tangalo show.
Tangelo.
It's the Tangalo show.
Let me go wrangle another chicken.
I want to feed my son.
You come back with another chicken, the party's gonna start asking questions.
Or making fried chicken, one of the two. You've got 2 sons, pick a favorite.
Well,
Mm-mm-mm.
I'm gonna try and find some food, like something to feed my chicken.
You can find something to feed your chimkin.
Chimkin, like
That's
seeds
easy,
or anything. Just
sure,
feed
yeah,
my
they've
baby.
got some stuff that they can feed. I mean, they've got some corn mash and stuff like that they can feed him. So it's all good.
Okay. I can't think of anything notable. Will probably play with the chicken. Please.
So you two are just keeping yourselves entertained, swapping stories and all of that stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Probably
All
just
right.
talking about bullshit.
The rest of you, the
Possibly
story
get
comes
more
in
drunk.
carrying a tray of food for the entirety of you that are searching the books.
Hell yeah, food.
Kind of like tutting after Satael taking the hard tack from his hand and putting like a soft piece of rye bread, a soft piece of bread in his hand.
He doesn't notice.
Yeah, he's like,
Just like take a bite, rye bread. It's replaced by soft bread. Another bite of the bread. Just
She said
I would like to say for just a second, he goes, and then just keeps going.
yeah.
She just sets the mug of water in front of him, sets the food next to the book, makes sure everybody else is eating, and then sits down and eats herself.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in full on research mode.
All right. With
The
that
monks
being
know what
said,
this looks like.
I know that Satael is going to roll. You can have one person help you that would give you advantage. The rest of you need to figure out who is helping Satael and who is rolling as well to find the information. It will be an investigation check, so I will say that out.
I want to help.
Okay.
Please.
Zastari,
Help, buddy.
Zora. With that being said, who's helping? Who's rolling?
What's your investigation, Zora?
I'm a +2.
Well, I guess that means it's me, because I'm a +3.
Okay, then you have advantage, and so does Satya.
Let's say I have a +6.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with advantage.
well,
We
I'd
didn't
like to
all
picture-
grow up in a library there, cloister boy.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to picture Ezra's just like pulling books like, will this one help? No? Will this one help? No? What about this one?
Just
Hey,
going down the line.
Hey, Ezra.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Would you like to know why?
Uh-oh. 20. Not 20.
20.
First roll was a 1. Second
That would
roll
have
was
been
a 20.
embarrassing.
I'm helping!
All right.
With a 26. Okay.
Yeah.
What about our other
like,
roll?
like I saw that first roll, I'm like,
18.
Second roll was
18.
18
Okay.
total.
So you find a series of books, Zastari, that have to deal with otherworldly creatures and their habits. And you find those in certain, like 3 different volumes. You find a bunch of other books. You bring these over to Satiel and you set them down. And when the books are set in front of you, you immediately just go the book you're reading and you pick the first one up, see what it is, and you like flip halfway through, close it, pick up the second volume, flip halfway through, close it, pick up the third volume and flip to like the first few pages, recognizing where these would be and how they're categorized by just looking at them. And you start to find more and more information about hags in general, how that they will sometimes form a coven, that they have when they do form a coven, they have an eye between them that helps them kind of augment their abilities. That it's not uncommon. You learn how they regenerate and how they procreate per se, or how they produce offspring by stealing a baby, a human baby, and replacing it with a hag baby, which looks like a normal human baby. And then as it's raised to the right age, they take that baby back. It comes up missing. And there's all sorts of stories about them. And you get that some of them are anecdotal, whereas others are, facts that have been written down. You cross-reference that with some of the other books that are presented, and you get a pretty good idea of how hags operate. That they are spellcasters in a nature or in a manner of speaking. That they are, this one in particular, they're more subversive. They're sly. They aren't willing to give up their own ability for a little bit of power. They want to see those who are virtuous turn to villainy. They want to watch love get turned into obsession and kindness turned to hate. They want to show devotion turned to disregard and generosity turned to greed and selfishness. The night hags in particular take a perverse joy in corrupting mortals. They think that is the greatest thing ever. But they are cunning. You do understand that some of their abilities, a limit to them. There's nothing in there about particularly fighting them. It does tell you that of the hags that are out there, that they're probably one of the more dangerous ones because of that twisting of things. But there you go.
What things of their ability wise did I pick up from that?
That they have some spell casting. They have some spell casting that they're able to change their shape. And you learn that like certain processes can be taken to kind of ward against them and against what they do to corrupt the mind. That their big thing is haunting the nightmares of the dreams of individuals. One of the things that you do learn about them is that they have an aversion to silver.
Okay.
All right.
So by the time those books pop down, and next time everybody looks up, I have a big old list of night hag stuff. Just he's going through it now, casually munching on bread.
One of the biggest concerns that you have, and you make note of it and kind of like circle it with a question mark and a period. And the word that you circle and like circle in it and then put question mark, is coven. You don't know if she's working alone or if she has a coven.
Okay.
All of the notes you take is even the lowly sea hag, which is the weakest of them, if she has a coven, becomes much more powerful.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, Cap?
Yes, Setael seems to have circled on a piece of paper several times as though to bring more and more emphasis to it, and you see several question marks after it is the word coven. Even the lowest and the least powerful among them, the sea hag, if in a coven, becomes much more powerful.
Okay.
All right. Any other information in particular you'd like to look for?
Is there any other common weaknesses of hags other than the silver for night hags?
No, it does tell you that they seem to have a minor resistance to magic, overcoming lower level spells with ease. Meaning that they have magic resistance. Other than that, it does talk about circles of protection to prevent the hag from invading the dreams of individuals that it may have affected.
When Zastari comes back over with a book, would she be able to see that last little note he makes about the circles of protection?
Mm-hmm.
She's going to tap him on his shoulder to get his attention, so that she doesn't startle him. Wouldn't this be something that Tangaroa would be able to cast?
Theoretically, most of the clerics here at the monastery would know the spell as well.
I don't think we want to start a wide panic if we're going to try and handle this.
Well, you can ask him.
Never hurts to ask. So.
I mean, I could see about doing some research, see if I can
How about
make one myself.
you should just focus on researching the hags. This is your library. I think Tangaroa.
He's got like 3 pages by this point.
She's just going to take a piece of her own charcoal and then just write Tangaroa's name with a question mark next to the circle of protection for his notes. Before she just double checks to make sure everybody is okay for food, water. How is Ezra looking with all this research?
He's been looking at pictures.
He's over there sitting with a comic book.
I'll say, actually, when it mentions Circle of Protection and people knowing about it, I pause and go, "Be right back," and he's gone.
Okay. Zastari is going to just put her hands like over top of the book that Ezra is looking at.
Mm-hmm.
would you like to do something else to get your mind off of this?
Like what?
I need a little practice for the fighting pits. Would you like to spar?
I'm afraid to hurt you.
Oh, trust me, you're gonna have a hard time getting a hold of me. You'll understand. I promise you're not gonna hurt me.
Um, oh, yeah. Sure. If you're confident in that.
I am confident in a great many things. Research is not one of them.
I understand that on an emotional and mental level.
Come on, let's go outside. Let's get you some fresh air.
Where's
And then
Sateo?
She just
Go ahead.
writes Satael a note saying, "We've gone outside to spar."
Yeah. So Saltiel might just, if he can catch them before they leave, come back with a spell book from the archives. It's like, do any of you have about 30 gold, all told?
I think I still have a little bit of gold.
Because if I can get approximately 50-ish gold worth of reagents, I can transcribe a circle of protection out of this book into my own to be able to cast for myself, for us as a party.
We can get you that money tomorrow night.
Because this is just a fairly basic early level spell, lower level one. Depending on the tier that you're looking at, we might have to, you probably aren't interested in the breakout of spells, aren't you?
You know what? Let me get some fresh air, and then I would be more than happy to sit there and have you explain it to me.
Slates.
Do you have several hours of time?
I will when I get back inside, because I don't plan on doing anything tomorrow during the day so that I am well rested for the fights that evening. I will be back. Go look up more stuff about the hags. Focus on one thing at a time.
Okay.
All right. You guys spar for a while. You continue to study. Eventually, Zora.
Yeah. She's over in a chair somewhere.
Yeah, Zora, Ezra, Zastari, Tangaroa, Mello, and Satael, you find yourselves unable to keep your eyes open anymore and retire to your beds for the evening. Is anybody bunking with anybody? How are the bunking arrangements going? What do you guys have set up?
Well, are we gonna take my advice and have like two to a room to try and make sure that nothing disturbing happens during the night?
Everybody just in a circle staring at Ezra.
That's
Hi.
creepy.
I'll say my next question is: has anybody mentioned this to Satiel?
No.
No.
Because he's just going back to his room.
Also, Zastari would have talked to Tangaroa about casting a circle of protection around a room for sleeping.
Right. I do have a spell like that.
What do you have?
I have protection from good and evil.
Okay. That is a target.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you could cast it.
It doesn't last too long.
But there was something in the book, so.
Sorry.
No, I apologize. Go ahead.
Just gonna say it doesn't last too long. But can't I do something that makes it last longer? I thought I could. I don't remember.
Unless casting it at a higher level usually would do that.
Yeah. Well, if somebody wakes me up, I certainly if something bad if you detect something bad happening, I would definitely
just ask one of the clerics because they would be able to do it for a longer time.
Well, then, yes, we could.
Keep in mind, these guys, for the most part, are scholars. They're sages, things like that. They're not. I mean, some of them can cast spells, but the majority of them are just keepers of knowledge. They don't have spell casting ability.
I mean,
The
we could just party up. Take turns.
Stay in the
watch.
same room.
We could do that.
Might be easier.
I'm
all
gonna be
right.
stared at while I sleep.
It's gonna be cramped because you can get 2 beds in there, no problem. But unless you're all stacking yourselves in there like cordwood,
I've been to an anime convention. It'll be fine.
remember head to toe, sleep head to toe. Always sleep head to toe. All right.
Just use Ezra as a pillow. It's
Well, I
fine.
mean, unless someone mentions it to Sawtail, he's going back to his own room in the
Mhm.
monastery.
So
I mean, given
Uh,
the fact that the rooms only have enough room, ideally for 4, she will probably let those 4 sleep in that room, and then she will go look for Satael's room, because he did promise to talk to her for hours about spellcasting, which she is 90% sure will put him to sleep, let alone her.
Oh no, it'll put her to sleep, not him.
You get some arched eyebrows when you inquire into the location of Satael's room, but no one says no, and eventually, several doors down from Thidear's room, his father. What does your room look like? Give us a quick description.
He spent a lot of his time here, so it's actually a little bit more furnished than some. It's got a desk, a few bookshelves, a table where he can like sit and like spread out research on as needed when the desk just isn't big enough. Decent sized bed, some fairly nice curtains. There is a small, looks a little like a tinker's toy, but it's a blunted sword of a very peculiar design. That is, no, I'll just say it's a very peculiar design. You probably wouldn't recognize it.
That's fine.
But he has that sort of seated on a little tiny stand on his desk.
Okay. And you
And-
guys talk about spellcasting for hours.
I would like to say that before she made it there, he did have his talk with the with his spirit,
you've done your
and
evening.
he would inquire about night hags with her, and if she would know anything else that he might not have found.
No, most of the same information that you already kind of gleaned from.
Okay. And he would also ask if it would be wise for them to go after her to protect the town.
The answer isn't yes, but it also isn't no. Does that it's given to you in a do what you feel is right and just.
Okay.
And as you guys settle in to discuss spells ad nauseum, the rest of you drift off to sleep. I take it the other 4 of you are legitimately stacked like cordwood in there.
More or less.
If it helps, Ezra will gonna stay seated and start by meditating. And if he falls asleep,
Zora will ask Axel if any of them start making weird dream kind of things, or like tossing around to wake them up.
All right. Go ahead.
Sorry. If I dream again, let it go. Let it play through.
Okay.
All right.
Is anybody staying up to watch you just all crashing together?
I will stay up.
Okay. Give me a Constitution saving throw.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Has a 5.
Watching Ezra sleep, you find yourself drifting off your head, your head touching, your chin touching your chest, and your eyes closing.
So peaceful.
You you get the idea that something in the room was moving of its own accord, a figure that moved across the room. But you think it and chalk it up to a fevered dream as you watch feminine hands elongate to claws as they come to rest on either side of Ezra's head. And as your eyes close, that dream state taking over you,
I'm really not gonna say anything about that.
you are like, is that what I think it? And that is where we're going to call it for the evening. Thank you all, one and all, for tuning in with us tonight. We really appreciate having you. We hope you had a good time. We will see what's troubling Ezra next week. In the meantime, tune in tomorrow for Esper Genesis with our DM Jason from Nerd Eternal Network. It's hard to say almost Nerd Eternal Network. And then on Wednesday, Big Eye Small Mouth run by V. And then on Thursday, we're back with Curse of Strahd with Maddie. So tune in all this week to see more shenanigans. People will probably be in and out of costumes. This coat is really friggin' comfortable, so I'm probably going to keep it on throughout the week. And until then, we appreciate and love you guys and all of your support. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next Monday.